If you haven't started buying Bitcoin yet, you might think you're too late, but you're not. If you start buying Bitcoin today, you're still very, very early. I believe everybody should set a target to accumulate 0.21 Bitcoin. Stick around to find out why. I'm Michael, and this channel is Betirement. On this channel, I'm sharing videos to explain how I was able to achieve early retirement and retire earlier this year at the age of 51. Why do I say that everybody should try to accumulate 0.21 Bitcoins? Well, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in existence. So if you can accumulate just 0.21, that means you are one of 100 million people that can achieve that feat. And there's 8 billion people in the world, which puts you in the top 1%. I'm going to share some quotes from some prominent investors to indicate how ingrained Bitcoin has become in our financial industry. Paul Tudor Jones said, "Bitcoin is the best inflation trade." Larry Fink of BlackRock said, "We're seeing Bitcoin become a real asset class." And Larry Fink and BlackRock really pioneered the Bitcoin ETFs and released one of the first approved Bitcoin ETFs in 2024. And it's grown to over 700,000 Bitcoins that they have accumulated on behalf of the shareholders of their ETF, which is IBIT. Stanley Druckenmiller said, "We're seeing Bitcoin become a real asset class." And Bill Miller said, "It could go to 500,000 or 1 million because its supply is fixed and demand is going up." These are four of the most renowned investors in our financial system, and they have put their full support behind Bitcoin and are excited about its future. Somebody commented on one of my recent videos that the strategy preferred stocks, Metaplanet, and the other instruments that I've been addressing on my channel are really tied to the success of Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin fails, if Bitcoin goes to zero, then those instruments will also. And of course, that's true. There are risks. Now, I think those risks are becoming less and less every day, every year. One prominent thinker in the space is Jeff Booth, and I really resonate with the way he explains things. Jeff is an entrepreneur out of Canada. He's established many successful businesses, and in recent years, he has shifted his focus 100% to Bitcoin. But he cautions that Bitcoin will succeed if, only if, it remains decentralized and secure. So there are risks, and we need to be mindful of that, and we need to be on the lookout for anything that might make it insecure or less centralized. And so far, I'm not seeing that. And now, in recent years, the government has posed a risk to Bitcoin. The previous administration, the Biden administration, was very adversarial and was not at all cooperative with Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related industries. However, that's changed this year with President Trump coming in. Much of the Trump administration are Bitcoin holders. For instance, J.D. Vance, when he got named to the Senate the first time, elected to the Senate for the first time, he disclosed that at the time he had, if I recall correctly, about $250,000 in Bitcoin, which would have been about 5 Bitcoins. Now, he may have sold that, or he might accumulate more, but we know he is a Bitcoiner. He has spoken at Bitcoin conferences. Of course, Donald Trump has also spoken very favorably of Bitcoin. And maybe more telling is his sons, Don Jr. and Eric, are highly invested and highly engaged in Bitcoin industries, such as mining. They partnered with Hut 8 and formed a Bitcoin mining company this year. And Trump's media empire has accumulated over 15,000 Bitcoin, which is one of the largest corporate treasuries. So for the next 3 years, I see the U.S. federal government not getting in the way of Bitcoin's success. And that wasn't the case last year or the previous few years. So I think it's important that everybody studies Bitcoin. A great way to gain a deep understanding of what Bitcoin is and how it functions is through books. Some of my favorite books to recommend are The Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. Saifedean is a professor of economics, and he writes from an economic standpoint, and it's a very good book that was released way back in 2019 and was really fundamental in many people's understanding of Bitcoin. Another one is Broken Money by Lynn Alden. I recently did a review of that book on this channel, so you could check that out. She tracks the history of money over thousands of years, and it's a very well done book, very dense, but Lynn uses her engineering mindset to explain money in a way that I had never heard before. Another maybe more approachable book is The Hidden Cost of Money by Seb Bunny. Covers similar topics and is very easy and approachable for maybe young adults or people that don't want that deep depth of knowledge about the technical aspects of money. And earlier I mentioned Jeff Booth. He wrote a book called The Price of Tomorrow. It's really not a Bitcoin book. It does mention Bitcoin, but it's really centered around how a functioning economy should result in the prices of goods falling over time, because we are becoming more and more productive and should be able to produce those goods more productively, which we see that with things like televisions, where the price has come down, the quality of the TV has gone up while the price has gone down dramatically. But he illustrates in that book that really all goods and services should be following that, because everybody is becoming more and more productive over time. So I really recommend that everybody investigate Bitcoin and start buying Bitcoin. And you can start small. So again, don't get thrown off by the high price of a Bitcoin. Right now a Bitcoin is trading around $120,000. And that's obviously more than most people have sitting around. But Bitcoin breaks down into 100 million satoshis. So you can buy as little as one satoshi. And for example, right now, $1 will buy you 800 and some satoshis. So you can start with $1, $10, $100, $1,000. Decide, even as you're learning, decide how much you're willing to put in while you accumulate that knowledge and gain more and more conviction in going harder towards accumulating that 0.21 Bitcoin. And down below, I'm going to put my referral link to Strike. Strike is an exchange that's Bitcoin only, and it's where I buy most of my Bitcoin. And you can download the Strike app on either Apple or Android, and it's a simple app to use, and it's a good way to get started with buying even that $10, $100 worth of Bitcoin. And if you use the link below, both you and I will get reduced transaction fees through Strike. But also, besides buying spot Bitcoin or actual Bitcoin, you can also get indirect exposure to Bitcoin using the ETFs. I mentioned IBIT earlier, which is BlackRock's ETF that Larry Fink has issued through BlackRock. And IBIT's one of the ETFs. FBTC is the one that's issued by Fidelity. So I've have a couple friends that I've been talking to about Bitcoin for many years, and these ETFs are really what made it easy enough for them to just take the plunge. They had brokerage accounts or IRAs that they could buy stocks in, and ETFs trade just like stocks. So they bought FBTC or IBIT, and now they have Bitcoin price exposure. And some hardcore Bitcoiners will discourage that and call it paper Bitcoin summer or whatever the term is now. But I'd much rather see my friends or any of you start getting exposure to Bitcoin through the ETFs, because it really is as simple as buying Apple stock or Nvidia. You just buy it through your brokerage account or your IRA. So again, FBTC from Fidelity or IBIT, and those will track the price of Bitcoin directly and give you exposure to Bitcoin, but you're not a true direct holder of Bitcoin. You're trusting Fidelity and IBIT to have the Bitcoin to back up those products. So in summary, number one is don't get overwhelmed. Start small. Don't feel like you're late. Don't be the I'm late guy. The last 2 years at Christmas time, I gave 5 of my friends Bitcoin books. I gave them the Bitcoin Standard the first year, along with a wallet with $25 worth of Bitcoin in it. And the second year, I gave them Parker Lewis's book, Gradually Then Suddenly. And after that second gift at Christmas time, the one guy said, well, I wish I'd bought it last year when you told me about it, because the price was only about $30,000. And at the time, Bitcoin was $75,000. And I said, if you buy today at $75,000, you're still very, very early. And that's my message today to all of you, that if you buy today when Bitcoin's $120,000 or $125 or $130, you are still very, very early. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't have Bitcoin yet, please set a goal for yourself. I challenge you for that goal to be 0.21. Now that's $25,000 roughly. That's a lot for a lot of people. So whatever you set as a target for yourself, don't wait. Get moving now, and then gain conviction through podcasts, through books, or through YouTube videos like this channel or many other Bitcoin related YouTube channels. Start gaining that conviction, and if you're like me, I think you'll get hooked and go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I'm Michael, this is Retirement. On this channel I'm sharing success stories that I've had, and also some failures that I had or missteps I've had early in my career of investing and taking on risk. And it really paid off with me. Those lessons that I've learned from over the years paid off over the recent years when I've started buying Bitcoin, the ETFs, the mining stocks, and the treasury stocks. And that enabled my retirement earlier this year at age 51. I want to encourage others to do the same. So please like and subscribe to this channel if you like this content, and comment below what your experiences have been. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time.